The giant of Africa, Nigeria, with a population of over 200 million people, used to have over 90 registered political parties, but some years ago, in the year 2020, 75 of them were deregistered for breaching regulations that govern their operations. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), the body saddled with the responsibility of conducting election in the country, deregistered these parties for failure of the parties to win at least 25% of votes cast in one state of the federation in a presidential election or one local government of a state in a gubernatorial vote. Also, failure to win at least one ward in a chairmanship election, a seat in a national or state legislature, a seat at the councillorship level. Currently, 18 parties are allowed to operate, though it appears that only 2 parties have been steering the ship of the country. Safe to say the nation runs a 2-party system.
We don't have a multi-party system. We have 2-party system. That's the truth. You see, the actors and the players. You saw the last election. How many of those parties actually, those presidential candidates endorsed Buhari? How many? Presidential candidate on paper that exist on the page. Those parties exist on the page of newspaper.
There is a school of thought that the 2 big parties are the same, owing to the fact that they defect from one party to the other, what is known in the country to be cross-carpeting.
To my personal opinion, I want to believe it's just a single party we are running, because the 2 parties lack ideology. Like you said, if you look at the United States of America, you hardly see a Republican, they campaign to Democrats, because they are too wide apart. A Democrat, it's known to be people who they consider as the human face, while a Republican are more of conservative party. So you discover that you make your choice. But if you look at the history of our democratic system in Nigeria, the big words have moved from one party to the other. The current candidate for the People Democratic Party was one time a candidate or was a member of APC. He went back to PDP. The big stalwart of PDP at one time been called APC B class, you know, or they said, you remember then. So, and it boils down to the main party not having ideology of this is what we want to do for the people. You discover that by the time the campaign starts now, the 2 parties will be telling us the same thing: failure of power supply, talk of infrastructure development, talk of building up a refinery system, and the other like. So you discover that we don't have a clean cut like we have in the time of UPN and NPN, where you know that the likes of Awolowo, this is where they start from. The likes of NPN, this is where they start from. So as far as I'm concerned, I want to believe that we run just a single party system, but different category of people trying to, it's like a twin, you know, given birth to by the same set of people, but decide to run it in a different manner.
The big question that comes to mind is, how come no other party has won a presidential seat or gubernatorial seat, save for APGA in Anambra State?
That will be difficult, Grace. That will be difficult because the structure the 2 giants has actually built, you know, over years. It's not something that the G4 or the third force will come and unleash. And let me state this: we, the elites, are part of the problem that we've seen. You see, the 2 other parties understand the dynamics of politics. And what they do is that they come and leverage on the poverty level of the average Nigerian and see how to have their way in. But for us, we do most of the party system or our electioneering process on the social media. And you know, I've come to a conclusion, Grace, this is personal. If anybody tries to win election on the social media, he will lose the election in the physical by the time the process itself starts. So these are the problems that the elites should not just go ahead and vote. Since we don't have the electronic way of voting yet, we should all come out, do what is needful. Even the two parties that we are talking about, if the elites get involved in some of these things, we can reshape and get what is expected, rather than saying, if there's going to be any third force, I'm sure it's going to be those that have been in the old party that are disgruntled, that are going to bring this structure again to challenge the status quo. I want to say, assuming during the time of the primary, somebody like Ashwaju was not given the ticket in APC, despite being the leader, you would have seen a third force to challenge both APC and PDP. Structure are not built overnight, but over a time to win the people's hearts to themselves. That's not in time soon. Every other party that we consider does not have the wherewithal by my own. They are more of the elite party, and they can only win election on social media.
The incumbent governor of Edo State from the People's Democratic Party, one of the biggest parties in the country, differs.
How can PDP, the party, they not only couldn't win, they were not even number 2. So you can see that something is going on. And we do not want this to be a trend. The future of our politics in this country is changing. I don't know how you are, whether you are closely watching what is going on. The level of disenchantment with the existing parties. I'm sure in all our homes here, we have so many people now who call themselves obedience. I don't know whether you have them in your house. Just ask them, where are you? Which party are you for? They say obedient. Do you understand? They don't want us. They are not talking about APC or PDP. They are looking for alternatives. And they are much, much more. You see all of them queuing for PVCs now. They are not looking the direction of APC or PDP. They are looking for alternatives. And if we don't curb this, if we don't make our party attractive, I do not know what will happen in the next election.
The baton rests in the hands of the electorate to elect the leaders. Should INEC deregister some political parties again, especially those that lack structure, as it will save costs?
INEC should delist this party. If any party cannot win at least a House of Rep, the party should cease to be a national party. The minimum qualification for a party will register you to participate in election. But if you fail to win at least a seat in the House of Rep, which is the least seat of representation at the national, you cease to be a registered national party to operate at the national level. What? If you cease to win at least a seat in the council, which is councillor, you cease to be registered as a party to operate at the local government level. If you cease to win a seat at the State House of Assembly, you cease to exist as a party at the state level. Those should be the criteria that should be used. That's the legislation the National Assembly should be passing, not for the primaries. It should be what should be the criteria for you to. Most of those parties, when INEC wants to do meeting, they will invite them for meetings and will spend state resources to put the logo of parties that are non-existent, wasting taxpayers' money. And when their logo does not appear, they will go to court and challenge the result of the election, where we know quite all right that they are just existing on the pages of newspaper.
Another question seeking for an answer is, should one vote for the party or the personality?
Well, in the same climb, I would say you vote for the party. And that is where the party have their ideology, you look at their manifesto, and you'll be able to say, okay, this party, this is what they stand for, and this is what they will be able to impact in us as a citizen. But as we have it in our country now, because even the two giant parties that we have seems to be twins, like I said, they both share the same ideology, because the same crop of people tends to be moving from one party to the other, all in the name of seeking for power. So I feel that at this point in time, it's about personality, what they are able to bring to bear. Because the party does not they might claim they have a structure, but we don't have the ideology. Remember those days, you can pick up UPN and say they bring up the idea, and they are known for free education, which Awolowo, brought to bear, and that's what majority of us are enjoying today. But what do you say about it? Even the people that are coming from the other side knows the value of education, so they will come and tell you it's about free education. Like, well, so it's about personality now, not about party, because our party lacks the ideology that we can hold on to say this is what this party stands for. You are in today and you're out tomorrow. Look at some of the candidates. When they lose here, the next minute they're in another party. It's happening at the federal level for the presidency, happening at the state level for the governor, happening for the legislative too. Everybody is out there to test their popularity and not the popularity of the party. So I feel for us in the country, it's more of individual personality than the party themselves.
Perhaps in a not too distant future, like the forthcoming election, the narrative will change. Grace Paul Adebayo, Impact Television News.